Interrupt during davening. We were discussing the halachas of interrupting Ma and Birchas Krishma. Some of you weren't here. So briefly, just briefly, because some of you were not here when we did it last week. That is during Birchas Krishma. That means from after Yishtabach. When you start Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melchem Yotzei Oid Aved Peshach until Gal Yisrael, that's called Birchas Krishma and Shema. In that, wherever you are between those places, you can answer Amen Yeshmei Rabba, which means the whole thing. Say Amen Yeshmei Rabba, the whole thing. You can answer the fifth Amen. We're reviewing from last week, so if I go a little fast, if you don't understand, you can ask me and I'll fill it in, but we're just going over what we did last week, at least from Birchas Krishma. We did also Pesukei Zimra. Birchas Krishma, we said you can answer Amen Yeshmei Rabba. It means the whole thing. The fifth Amen means after Amen Yeshmei Rabba is the third one. So after Amen Yeshmei Rabba, you skip the next one, and then the fifth one. You can answer Kaddish, Baruch, and Yimlech, those three Pesukim. The entire psukim of Kaddish Baruch and Yimlech. You can answer the three words Meidem and Achloch. You can answer Amen after Shemei Tefillah. You can answer Amen after Keilah Kaddish. You can answer Amen. We're going a little too fast, right? For those who are not here, it's review, so that's why I'm going a little fast because it's review. I want to bore those who are here already. You can answer Amen after Shemei Tefillah. You can answer Amen after Keilah Kaddish. You can answer Amen after someone is called up to the Torah. He says a bracha before and after. You can answer, the brachas from Daf Torah, if you could hear the brachas from Torah, let's say. So the men can't even hear the brachas of Daf Torah. If you hear the brachas of Daf Torah, answer Amen. What else? You can answer thunder and lightning, you say the bracha. We went into details. We're not going to go over all those details again, unless you want me to. If you have to interrupt too close to the end of the bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem. Okay, so between Hashem and the end, you cannot interrupt. Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu. You didn't say Elokeinu yet. Baruch Atah Hashem, between Hashem and Elokeinu, you can't interrupt at all. Then you say Elokeinu Melech Haolam, you can't interrupt until you release begin. You say Yotzei Oid Aved Peshach. You got to say something, otherwise it totally chops up the bracha. But end the bracha too. Baruch Atah Hashem, Yotzei Oid. Baruch Atah Hashem. Amen Yeshmei Rabba. No, between Hashem and end, you can't interrupt. Okay.
Sorry, I just had a question about Kedusha. Did you only do the whole thing of Kaddish Baruch?
Kaddish, the whole pasuk. Kaddish, 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 Hashem, Tzavakis, Melech Ladas Kavod. I think most of you actually were not here. You were the only one who were here, I think. Right? Yeah. You came to us then. So most
I still
of you
wasn't like it.
Right. So we could go over again if you want. I don't mind going from the beginning again. Huh?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Should we go from the beginning of Pesukei Zimra? Have we discussed everything again?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? Okay. Okay, so Pesukei Zimra. In Pesukei Zimra, between Baruch Shemer and Yishtabach, so I'm not discussing Baruch Shemer and Yishtabach, I'm discussing between Baruch Shemer and Yishtabach. Between Baruch Shemer and Yishtabach is called Pesukei Zimra. During Pesukei Zimra, you can answer almost everything. So I'm not going to tell you what you can answer. I'm going to tell you what you can't answer, because you can answer almost everything. So one of the things you cannot answer in Pesukei Zimra.
Is Pesukei Zimra on Shabbos or just Pesukei Zimra you're saying?
Pesukei Zimra could be Shabbos, a weekday. So in Shabbos, the Pesukei Zimra is a little longer, because you also have Nishmas, right?
Oh, right.
So you have an extra section there. And then you have Shechinah, so it's a little longer. But it's the same halachas. What you can answer during Pesukei Zimra. So during Pesukei Zimra, between Baruch Shemer and Yishtabach, almost everything you can answer. So I'm going to tell you what you cannot answer. What can't you answer? You cannot answer the second part of Kaddish. So in Kaddish, you can answer the first half of Kaddish, just the first 5 amens. So there's the first one, the second one, the third is Amin Yishmir Abba. Then you have the 4th one, then you have the 5th one. So you can answer the first 5 amens in Kaddish. After that, you cannot answer Amin anymore. You cannot answer Baruch Hu Baruch Shemayim.
Which pages? It's like the Shabbos.
So for Shabbos, yeah, 192. Well, you have 202? You have a different symbol?
Kaddish.
No. Second symbol.
Oh, because it's in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it starts on the top of 192 or at the end of 191. And it goes until the bottom of 201. On the bottom of 201, you have Yishtabach on the bottom of the page. So from the top of 192 until the bottom of 201, the Shabbos, that's Pesukei Zimra. So again, I'm telling you what you can't answer, because almost everything you can answer. What you can't answer, we said, was Baruch Hu Baruch Shemayim. You can only answer the first 5 amens in Kaddish. You cannot say when they open up the Aron Kodesh, you say Avi Ben Soya, Baruch Shmei, you cannot say that. The Zois HaTorah, when they pick up the Sefer Torah, they shout to everyone, the Zois HaTorah, you cannot say the Zois HaTorah. What else can't you say? That's pretty much it. Almost everything else, you could say the whole Kedusha, you could say Amens, all the Amens. Well, you cannot say Amen from Birchas Kainim. We discussed this, I think. You cannot say Amen from Birchas Kainim that the Chazan is saying. So on Shabbos, there's Birchas Kainim. You go to the weekday also, but the weekday you don't go to Shom. You come to Shom, the Chazan says, Berech Hashem Yishmerecha, right? Everyone says Amen. You cannot answer Amen during Pesukei Zimra. Got it? If it's from the Kainim, like on Yom Tov, they duchen, and the Kainim's duchen, so then you could answer Amen. And then you can answer Amen even in Birchas Krishma, you can answer Amen from the Kainim. That's pretty much it.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah.
You can't say Amen on Yom Tov, you're saying, from the Kohanim?
Yom Tov, you could.
Oh.
Yom Tov and the Kainim are duchening, so Yishmerecha, not the Chazan. Chazan is just reading, you're just reading the words the Kainim should repeat after the Chazan. The Kainim finish, Yishmerecha, and then he goes, Amen. So even in Birchas Knishma, which we're going to soon discuss, and Shema, you can also answer Amen. But if it's on the Chazan, like on Shabbos, you cannot answer during Pesukei Zimra. That's pretty much it. Okay? There's only things you can't answer. Yeah. Now, Birchas Knishma. So Birchas Knishma. So I guess we're starting from Shabbos, same in the weekday. Birchas Knishma begins on top of page 203. And it goes until the bottom of, it's missing pages. Oh, it goes to bottom of 210.
Is this where it says blessings of the Shema?
Yeah.
No.
So the top of 203, from when you begin to say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam until the end of 210. That's called Birchas Knishma. That's Birchas Knishma, and you cannot answer, and you could, now I'm going to tell you what you could answer. So you could only answer certain things. What are those things? Anyone?
The third Amen.
The third Amen in Kaddish, Amen in Hei Shmei Rabba Baruch Lamai Yisbarach. The fifth Amen. What else? Baruch Hashem HaMavarech, discussing what you can interrupt when you're in the middle of davening and show what you can interrupt. So now we're discussing Birchas Krishma, which on Shabbos, that's between page 203 and 210. From 203, top of 203 to page 210, that is Birchas Krishma.
Can I just clarify, this is
Yeah.
when everybody's davening the same, like at the same time, or when you're doing your own thing and then?
It doesn't matter. The point is, when you are in here, when you're up to here, what could you interrupt? Doesn't matter if you're with them and you're not. We're saying which things you can interrupt for. Usually, if you're with the minion, you won't have the issue, because if you're with the minion, they're not doing those things. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're saying in the middle of Birchas Krishma, we're saying, what could you answer from Kedusha?
And you're-
If you're with the minion, they're not doing Kedusha.
I'm sorry, I'm
He's
reading
saying,
off-
if
No,
you're,
my-
if you're in zero Birkas Shema, and then the minions ahead, what can you interrupt yourself to follow the minions?
Right, so usually you're not in the same place. The only thing that is important to note, which you'll have an issue even if you're together with the minion, is the Chazan. Chazan finishes, he says loud the bracha, he concludes the bracha, right? Yitzir Ameris, right? Chazan finishes loud, Yitzir Ameris, and when it's a Zamin. Could you answer Zamin?
I don't know. I'm not sure. That's if you're even with the minion or something.
You're with the minion. You're down with the minion. You're saying
You're
the
not
Chazan is
supposed to
Ameris. Yeah, it's Zamin?
No,
Anyone?
you're supposed
No, anyone has any, if you would have to guess, what would you say? Could you interrupt the middle of a bracha? Answer is no. Okay. If the only time you can answer is if you finish the bracha, if you're mamish together with if you're with the minion exactly, you finish Baruch Hashem Yitzir Ameris. I made the Chazan, Yitzir Ameris, Amen, that's it. Well, if you're in the middle of a bracha, you can't answer that Amen. It's like with benching. If you're benching, there's a mizumah. Rabbi Osdoba benching, he shem, and then everyone answers, and then the one who benches finishes out. He finishes, everyone answers Amen. If you're in the middle of saying your tzei or yal v'yava, you're a little behind, you're not going to answer Amen. Only if you finish the bracha and you are there in that spot, then you answer Amen. Otherwise, you don't answer Amen.
I've never followed the law, and so it's kind of hard for me to get
Right. Okay. So there's another issue. For many women, many times they can't hear what's going on. And if you do hear, you're involved with your davening, and the hearing in the ladies section not the same like by the men. The men you hear it's much louder, but women you have to depends where you are. So right. So if you're davening and it's disturbing your davening, let's say for some people they can't daven. They're gonna the whole time. Oh, I have to. So that's another discussion. I mean. If it's disturbing your davening, I mean, you want to daven and you can't the whole time be listening to all the Kedusha and Kaddish. It's a case by case situation. It depends on you, depends on your concentration, depending also how important, depending what it is. Like Kedusha, the things that you can interrupt now during Birchas Krishma has more Kedusha than the other things. Like, so whatever we're going to discuss now, you can answer during Birchas Krishma, you can only answer certain things. So be aware, that also tells you these things are important to answer. So those are things that it's a good idea to stop, to interrupt. I'm not saying you have to, you must, but it's something that you want to stop for, if you're able to. Unless you feel you can't davening, you're rushing and this, But it's a good thing to be able to, if you can answer these things. Okay, so what are the other things you can answer in Birchas Krishma? What did we say? Amen Yeshmin Abba. The fifth Amen. Baruch Hashem Baruch Hu. Yeah, everyone's following this? Yeah.
I've got an answer called to Torah. Oh, someone's called to Torah, you can answer Amen to their brachas if you heard it.
If you hear it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a big if, underline if 3 times, because chances are most shows you the women can't hear anything.
Amen, Hakel,
Amen after Kela Kaddish. After Kedusha, there's Ata Kaddish. Amen after Shemei Tefillah, which is not on Shabbos. But during the week, if you're sure during the week, let's see here Shemei Tefillah, which is not usual.
Oh, you said brachas of Haftarah if you heard it.
Yeah, everyone following that? The brachas of the Haftarah. If you can hear it, yeah.
Kedusha, you said we could answer.
What could you answer from Kedusha?
Only, Kadosh and.
Kaddish,
Baruch.
the pasuk Kaddish, the pasuk Baruch, and the pasuk Imlech. That's it.
And then the first 3 words of Modi.
That's it.
And, yeah, Birkas Khan, I mean, from. the
Birchas
Kohen.
Kohanim from the Kohanim. That the Kohanim are saying, the Kohanim on Yontiv, you can answer.
Wait, sorry, when you say in Kedusha, the whole pasuk of Kaddish, like. you
Till
mean to-
Kavodei,
You mean to Kavoda?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
just the pasuk. So even Shabbos, when it's much longer, it's just that pasuk. Kaddish versus Kavodei. Baruch Hashem Kohanim. Just those psukim. That's it. That's all you could answer.
Okay, I have a question though also, like, if you're in the situation where you're saying Kaddish, like whatever, like, so basically you stop and like join them for Kedusha, what you can join for, and then once they finish, then after emails, then you go back to where you are. Like, you
Yeah.
pause, don't keep doing Birkas Shema to yourself.
I mean, during Kedusha?
Yeah, like I always wonder, like, even like wherever you're holding, like, are you supposed to?
Honestly,
and join.
so the way I grew up, and I think that's how it is that my Kedusha, okay, Shulchan says that, for example, if you're middle of the Amidah and you hear Kedusha and you can't answer, so you should listen to Kedusha, stop and listen. So even during Birchas Krishma, when you can only answer certain things, it's the way I remember, the way I was brought up, so I think, I'm almost sure that's how it is, that you're supposed to stop and just answer those parts you can answer. And other parts, you're just listening in, but you're not davening. Lately, I'm starting to wonder about it. I'm always like, I want to like look into it, but I never got to it because I have issues sometimes because I'm a Bakeda, I read a Torah. So many times the minion is going too fast for me, and I'm trying to catch up. And I have to be done to be able to read the Torah, right? Now it comes Kedusha. Now I'm to stop for Kedusha. And I'm in the middle of Birchas Krishma. I can only answer 3 psukim. So I'm thinking to myself, do I have to stop? When I do that, usually I stop, unless it's mamish running late, then in between I'll just continue davening. But it's something that always, it's on my mind that I want to figure out, and I never got to it, so. But usually, yes, that's how it's usually done. People stop for Kedusha with the whole thing, and they answer what they want to answer, and the rest are just listening and, you can look into a sefer, you can read something, but not verbally supposed to be quiet. But I'll get one day, it's a Shabbat, look into it. Okay. What else could you answer? Thunder and lightning. If there's thunder and lightning during Birchas Krishma, because anything that's an obligation, you can interrupt. The idea is, being that you're saying, why are we stricter with Birchas Krishma? You have any idea why? What is this? Birchas Krishma is strict. Psukei Zimra is lenient. What?
Because you're getting closer to Shemona Esrei.
No, not exactly. Birchas Krishma, you're saying a bracha. Are you allowed to speak in the middle of a bracha? Of course not, right? It happened to be a very long bracha. Used to bracha of Shahakal Ne'emidvarei, Pekeach Ivrim, Matir Asurim. These are brachas. When you sing Birchas Krishma, and he's saying, Ameh HaPel Yador Kein Adin, Shem Akel Ameh HaGadol, Kulavad Pel Gvunis. It doesn't feel like you're saying a bracha, but it's a long bracha. It's just a very long bracha. So in the middle of a bracha, we are strict. But Psukei Zimra is not a bracha. Psukei Zimra is psukim. Psukim kapitel chavtilim, Tanakh. So it can be more lenient. Okay. So I think this is pretty much we can answer Birchas Krishma. We discussed in another class what happens if you interrupt during Birchas Krishma in the middle of a pasuk. Middle of a pasuk, then we said you should return, you should begin the pasuk again. So let's say in the middle of Shema, you say, did you finish the pasuk yet? Are you familiar with the pasukim? Yeah. So you're still middle of a pasuk, right?
Yeah.
But you can answer. For those things that we said you're allowed to answer, you can answer. But then you should go back to the beginning of the pasuk again, because you interrupt in the middle of a pasuk. So you're allowed to interrupt for whatever you said you're allowed to, all those things that are considered holy and special, you can interrupt for. But being that you did interrupt the middle of a pasuk, you sort of broke up the pasuk, so you go back to the beginning of the pasuk. The first 12 words of Shema, you cannot interrupt at all. From Shema Yisrael till Vod, those 12 words, you cannot interrupt at all. Nothing. It's like the middle of the Amidah. Ani Hashem lekeichem emes. We discussed that last time. What do you do when you finish Shema and you say Ani Hashem lekeichem? Should say Ani Hashem lekeichem emes. What do? You say Ani Hashem lekeichem emes, or do you do anything else? So the way you're supposed to do it is when you're davening, unless you're in shul and you're with the chazan, it's no different. But in general, you're usually davening on your own. Ani Hashem lekeichem, and instead of saying emes, you repeat again Ani Hashem lekeichem. So basically, it's like this: Ani Hashem lekeichem, Asher Etzeis Es Mitzrayim, Lisachem lekim, Ani Hashem lekeichem. And instead of saying emes, you say again Ani Hashem lekeichem emes. That's how you should do it. If you're in shul and you hear the chazan, then if you are in the middle of Shema, or you're at the end of Shema, and you're able to hear the chazan, so then you say Ani Hashem lekeichem emes, and wait for the chazan, and hear what the chazan is saying. And you hear the 3 words of the chazan. The chazan concludes Hashem lekeichem emes.
What if he gets there before you? Can you still be able to say his? Like, what if you're still like?
Let's be in the middle of Shema, right? So here, what you do is you stop. When you hear the chazan saying it, you stop where you are and you listen to the chazan.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, this specific question, I heard from someone growing up in yeshiva, my classmate. We went together. So he told me the story with his father, that his father actually asked this question to the Rebbe. So in the early years of the Nesius, it was very different. Before my times growing up even, like maybe in the early 50s, 60s, people used to stop the Rebbe. The Rebbe used to walk from the mosquitoes. I don't know if you're familiar, just come out where the Rebbe's room is, called the mosquitoes. No, not mosquitoes is on the right. The Rebbe used to come out from his office. He used to walk across the little hallway to the secretary office, maybe to pick up letters or whatever. And it was accepted thing that a Bacher saw the Rebbe. He was able to stop the Rebbe and ask the Rebbe a question. Later years, that a lot of things changed. So he actually asked the Rebbe that question. And the Rebbe said they should stop and listen to the chazan. So I heard, and I asked my father this question also before that. He told me you could be Yaitse. If you're in the middle of Shema, you could also be Yaitse. But when I heard this from the Rebbe added, the Rebbe said you should stop where you are. In other words, because anytime you want to be Yaitse, listening is like saying. So if you, in other words, the Rebbe didn't explain it, but that's the logic behind it, I understand. Like if you're saying something while you're listening, so listening is like saying. Why can't you speak when you're hearing Kiddush? Because you're hearing Kiddush is like you're saying it. So if you're saying something else, how can you be saying Kiddush? The Rebbe said, if you're in the middle of Shema, you hear the Chazan, you stop where you are, and you listen to the Chazan's words. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that you can only be Yitzhak the Chazan if you are either in the middle of Shema or at the end of Shema. But if you're already past Shema, I see the people doing it. They finish Shema, they're ready for the Chazan, and they go ahead. They have to. They don't sit and wait, so they go ahead. But then you're hearing from the Chazan, it doesn't connect. The whole idea is that when you hear from the Chazan, it's like we said it. But the whole idea is that it becomes connected. It becomes part of Shema. You get what I'm saying? If you're already continued and then you're hearing the Chazan, so you broke up the Shema. The idea is supposed to have, we discussed 248. Yeah, it says that if you you have 248 limbs in your body. So Shema is 245 words. The extra 3 words that you're repeating, or you have mechaz, you get 248. And if you have kavan and Shema properly, that helps your body. You have 248 limbs. So the idea is that the 3 words that you repeat has to repeat it at the end of Shema, not later on. Or if you're hearing it to mechazin, it's like you're saying it, so it's supposed to be connected to Shema. But if you continue, you went past Shema, and then you're hearing from the chazan, you're not Yitzhak. I notice people doing shit all the time, and I have in mind, you can't do anything in the middle of the time, you can't talk. Well, I'm like, okay, I have to tell them, make them aware one day, and then I never get to it. So, yeah, actually, remember to tell them. Okay. Yeah, clear at the Shema?
Yeah.
Okay, now. What about Baruch Shem and Yishtabach? I didn't discuss Baruch Shem and Yishtabach. I said Psukkah Dezimna between Baruch Shem and Yishtabach. What about Baruch Shem and Yishtabach itself? So, Baruch Shema, take a look at Baruch Shema. Baruch Shema is a bracha, right? Saying a bracha. Oh, so it's a bracha. Is it like Birchas Krishma? Birchas Krishma, right? When you get the logic behind it, better to remember easily the halachos connected to it. Birchas Krishma are brachas. They just happen to be long brachas, but they're brachas. That's why we're stricter in Birchas Krishma. Baruch Shema is also a bracha. But look closely at Baruch Shema. Where does the bracha begin? Very good. Look at Baruch Shema. Where's the bracha begin? The bottom of 191. The actual bracha begins in the middle. Baruch Atah Hashem. You see that? So till Baruch Atah Hashem, it's the same like Psukkah Dezimra. Perhaps even more than that, but I'm not sure. It's for sure like Psukkah Dezimra at least. Once you start Baruch Atah Hashem, it's like Birchas Krishma. Then what about Yishtabach? Turn to Yishtabach, page 202. Yishtabach, page 202. You have it? What about there? Similar idea. Yishtabach begins at the bottom of 201. But where does the bracha actually begin? The middle of the bracha, page 202, middle of the page, middle of the top of the page. Baruch Atah Hashem, right? But over here, it's different. And here, it becomes a different category. Here it becomes a questionable category. What do you mean a questionable category? So let me ask you another question. Let's jump for a second to the brachas they say in the morning. You get up in the morning, say Baruch Atah Hashem Pekech Even, Matir Asum, right? Familiar with those brachas? Zehik Kufim, Mal B'Shrum. The middle of the bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem Kemach. You're about to say Mal B'Shrumim, and you hear Amin Yishmanabah. Do you answer? We said you don't break up between Hashem and Elokeinu or Eilam Malbish. It's like the Amida. Not in terms of all the halachas of Amida. There's other halachas that have to keep during Amida. But you cannot interrupt at all. Why? Because it's a short bracha. Being it's a short bracha, you cannot break it up at all. So according to one opinion, he says that he feels that it's questionable that perhaps Yishtabach is like a short bracha. Because look at it. It's not a long, but it's not short. He says it's questions, and maybe it's like a short bracha. He says perhaps you should not interrupt at all. So from Baruch Atah Hashem till Chelam, it's a questionable situation whether you're allowed to interrupt or not. So you don't interrupt. Okay, so let's discuss. I want to discuss. I'm debating if I should discuss more details in the kavanas. There's different halachas in Birchas Krishma. You have to have kavanah, in the bracha before Shema, and then there's halachas regarding the end of the Amidah. In the last paragraph of the kind of tzor l'shayni meira, what do you allowed to interrupt? So I'll give you the choice what to What do you want to discuss? Interrupting, or you want to do something different about kavanas and davening? Let's do that. So you get a break of that, and you, huh? The kavanas. So there's different kavanas you have to have in the last bracha before Shema. Page 207. The last 3 lines of the bracha right before Shema. You see where it says Kikel Perishu Esata Uvana Vacharta Mikolam Veloshin. The Kedav Malkain and the Shinugah the Vav. Yeah, you see those words? I'm going to go through with you what the Alter Rebbe explains what you're supposed to have kavanah in those words. Besides, the kavanah means that you should know what the words mean. Okay, if you don't know yet, you'll learn them, it's Hashem, but you have to learn the meaning of the words. But we're talking about beyond that now. So let's look at Uvonu V'charta. You have Uvonu V'charta? Uvonu and Enos V'charta, you have chosen us. Page 207. Uvonu V'charta, and in us you have chosen. Hashem Bachar Banu Mikolamim Bachar, Hashem chose us from all the nations. Uvonu V'charta, right? V'charta means you have chosen us, Mikol Am, from every nation, V'loshen, and language. So the Alter Rebbe explains, when you say these words of Uvonu V'charta, and you have chosen us, you should think that you have chosen us and you have given us the Torah. So it's not just you have chosen us and given us the Torah. V'kedaftonu malkeinu. V'kedaftonu, what does it mean kedaftonu? You have brought us closer. V'kedaftonu malkeinu, and our King has brought us closer, the Shem Hagog, to your great name. So the Rebbe says, when you say v'kedaftonu, and you have brought us closer, you should be thinking that you have brought us closer, you brought us close to Har Sinai. You have brought us close to Har Sinai. L'shimcha Hagol, to his great name. When you say the words L'shimcha Hagol, to his great name, you should be thinking Hashem's name is not going to be complete until Amalek will be destroyed. That's the pasuk teaches us. Then the Parshas B'Shalach. The name of Hashem is not complete until Amalek will be destroyed. Ba'ava, he brought us closer with love. What do you mean l'hoidis? What's l'hoidis? To praise. Praise, praise. To praise you. What does it mean to praise you? Praise means to praise you. But what is the meaning? What do you have to be thinking over here? Something very interesting. How do you praise Hashem? How do you do it? With your mouth? So you should be thinking like this. The mouth is to praise Hashem and not to speak Lashon Hara. Not like the story in the Torah with the story of Miriam and Aaron. Miriam spoke Lashon Hara against Moshe Rabbeinu. So you're thinking, l'chayin is l'chot to praise you, and the mouth is to praise Hashem and not to speak Lashon Hara. And to unify you, and to love your name. What do you have to think here? It says la'ava. Think like this. You should love Hashem and not like the way it was in the story of the Egel, the golden calf, when they were not in love with Hashem. Now, go to the last parsha of Shema. You see where it says, on the bottom of 208, the 4th line, towards the end of the line, Uzachartman should remember as commits Hashem all the mitzvahs of Hashem. You should remember the commandments of Hashem. What should you be thinking here? It says you should remember all the mitzvahs of Hashem. All the mitzvahs of Hashem. You have to be thinking about Shabbos. Shabbos is equal to all the mitzvahs. You turn it off.
Just the bottom right corner.
Bottom right corner. You just press it. Okay. The first bracha in the Amidah is the most important bracha to have kavanah. It says if you don't have kavanah when you say the first bracha, you're not doing the mitzvah of davening. You're not yet to We don't make you go back to return because we assume that the second time you also won't have kavanah. When you don't have kavanah in Shema, the first 12 words of Shema, you have to repeat it. You must have kavanah in the first 12 words. The first pasuk in Shemoneh Esrei also, you must have kavanah if you're not in Hayitzah. But we don't make you repeat it because we assume you won't have kavanah the second time. So something you want to learn what it means the first pasuk, the first bracha in the Amidah. The story with the Rebbe that someone once came to. This was by the Gem videos. Amazing story. As he came to the Rebbe, he told the Rebbe he has a very hard time concentrating in the Amidah. In general, especially comes to Shemoneh Esrei, he starts to kavanah. What should he do? The Rebbe answered very interesting. First, the Rebbe said something which was like, the Rebbe said, we all have this issue. As if they're very, humble. We all have this issue. Don't worry about it. We all have this issue. As if the Rebbe has this thing. We all have this issue. And then the Rebbe said, what you do is take one bracha and make a decision. You take one bracha, and this bracha that you're choosing, you make sure that you have kavanah for every single word. Say every word slow and have kavanah, and then keep on doing it till it becomes habit. Then once you become habit with this bracha, then take another bracha and do it the next bracha. Very interesting. Amazing. Since I heard that story, it changed my life. Sometimes you have those interesting story, not that's connected to this, but sometimes, gives you an idea, like, wow, like it's a genius idea, and it's also a simple idea. Like there was once an issue with someone who had a problem with getting stuck. He wrote into the Rebbe, and he told the Rebbe he has a problem with getting stuck, and the Rebbe he went to a psychologist, and he went to therapy, and this. He has a lot of money, and it's to get stuck in, but he has a hard time. He can't give, He said, what should he do? The Rebbe said, he should make a decision from now. Every day he's going to give stuff. Make a decision every day, you're going to give some stuff. Sometimes you just got to start doing it. Sometimes psychology is so involved with why and what and when and where, which one thing, as opposed to sometimes when you just do something, it becomes part of you. I'm not saying it's simple, it was so simple in this situation, but everything say you should give a huge amount of money. The other said, start giving stuff every day, just start giving. But it's hard for you to give, like he's had a hard time, maybe you want to give bigger amounts, whatever. Never said, so he wasn't giving anything. He never said start giving stuff every day. Sometimes you just start doing something, then it becomes part of you. Okay. Everyone.
Yeah, okay, so hi girl. Good morning. You get to go to Mrs. Nevy's house today. Okay, yes. Are you guys ready to leave here at 12:50? Yeah. Yeah, like you could leave lunch a few minutes early, so you can be there at 1. Yeah. And then, I think you're in the other class. I don't know. No, yeah. This week I'm starting to okay, very nice. And then if you can finish, maybe someone could set an alarm, so it's just like at 1:45 or something. And then you have like 5 minutes to say hello and goodbye. And then you could leave there at 12:50 and 1:50 be back at 2. So it's Mrs. Downsburg. Okay, amazing. So all right. What you gonna teach? Rashi Sikha, back to her subject. So I think we even have copies. So it's gonna be was it gonna be though? We'll try it. If it works for you guys, so walk there. Okay. And back on time.
then, yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Is this the sound? Is the sound on this thing, by the way? Like, do you hear the alarms?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The class is also, you're right.